Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Bars. It's Keltie, virtually beside Savvy Wavy One. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Beautiful Monday on the island. We woke up at 6 a.m. and we went swimming with our friends.
Nice.
We've been spearfishing with them, and it's so much fun. I'm trying this thing where I'm trying not to be on my phone first thing in the morning.
Nice.
And this is an activity I thought, what a better way to kick off fall, official fall, than swim in the tropical island. And it was like we were joking, my friend and I, that there's fish are in school right now. Like they're heading to school because it was so active.
Wow.
I saw so many beautiful fish and I love it so much. I love being in the water.
Oh, I love that so much for you. Actually, one of my biggest pet peeves of living in Vancouver that absolutely sucks about it is I'm a water baby. I just want to be all day long in the water, and I'm surrounded by a beautiful ocean that's full of E. coli, so I can't even swim in it. You have to it's such false illusion that I live a block away from the ocean and I can't even swim in it. Well, I can, but I risk an infection every time. So I'm like, I
It's just
should
a known
swim
thing.
more. Yeah, it's occasionally you'll see people in the water there and you're like, ooh.
Really?
Yeah, so definitely right near, you can go farther around Stanley Park and all that, but all the beaches that are attached directly to Vancouver, because what happens is when it rains, all the city water drains into the beaches, and what's on the city streets? Dog and human number two. So that just goes all right into the water.
Ew.
And so just E. coli abundant. I'm
That is so gross.
How
I don't
sad is
blame
that?
you.
It's false advertising. It's misinformation.
Yeah.
I moved here thinking I could go swimming every day. Turns
Yeah.
out I can't.
That's how I felt living in Miami, in Brickell. You can't swim in the water there.
Same reason?
I think, yeah, it's just a lot of pollution with the boats that go in the channel. So I was like, what the
Ah,
hell is this? Yeah,
it's
that's a
fake.
bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how's your
So,
first day of fall?
rainy. Yeah, it was and the worst is the Weather Channel said it was just gonna be an hour rain. So I didn't really pack or dress accordingly. I dressed to be okay, I can be damp for 10 minutes and then just downpoured. I'm wearing white shoes. I don't have a rain
Oh,
jacket.
no.
I had to pick
It's
up a
kind of cozy,
$5
though.
umbrella. It's cozy, but I wore brand new white shoes and they're no longer white. And that's my own stupidity.
Oh, no.
But
And
you know
you
what? I'm
walk
excited.
everywhere.
I know. I don't have a choice. I did get in an Uber because there got to be a point where I'm I'm
Ooh,
going to wreck all the tech that's in this backpack. And that's a lot
fair.
more expensive than an $8 Uber. So, girl math.
Yeah, girl math on that. I get it. Question for you. Have you
Ooh.
ever been to the chiropractor?
I have. I have indeed. I think I've tried all those kind of assortment of things. Why'd you ask?
Well, what do you think of it?
I think it depends on the chiropractor. It's definitely if you go into the history of it, it's a little bit of potentially hogwash and the whole just cracking. There's a lot of debate about it. And it's they're not versus physiotherapists and everyone else has all these accredited data. And yeah, chiro, it's a little bit of some people say voodoo, but at the same time, when you get it done, it's really good. And I've had some chiros that are really just physios, but they happen to be able to do some cracking. And so I have had some success with chiropractors, but I don't go to the chiropractor, if that says a
Okay.
lot. What are you getting at?
Well, so I have never been in my entire life. And the way I train, I'm very active, right? So I thought I'm going to go to the chiropractor because I've never done it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to work on my posture. And I can feel and I see my posture is not great.
Yeah.
And I thought, let me see what this is all about. I've never, ever done it. So I went today. And it was a recommendation from a friend. She's been using this chiropractor, so it's credible, right? And I just told her, I was like, I feel quite healthy. I just want to improve my posture. I have back pain sometimes. I don't know. So she did a whole test on me. She noticed my right shoulder's really weak. She noticed my glutes are turned off. They really aren't that active, which I have known. My hip, everything, right? So she cracks me. Terrifying, fucking terrifying when it's near your neck.
Scary.
Then I call my mother. My mother's lecturing me, being like, well, be careful of cracking your neck. And I'm like, Mother, stop scaring me. Like, I get so scared. But my dad's like, I've been going since I'm 20. I feel great. Michael's like, I used to go all the time. I feel great. And so I was immediately sore. And I told her, like, I'm really sore. Is that normal? She's like, yeah, you've never been cracked. And like, I just was like, okay, cool. Like, she's like, come every other week. And she did give me really great ideas to like strengthen my glutes, strengthen my arm, go in end range, everything like that. But I was just wondering what people's opinions are on it, because I posted on my story and like somebody freaking scared the crap out of me and said, this is like, I should never, I mean, I didn't ask for this, but people do anyways. She said, I had a PT that was a 30-year-old wow, you get it. And she had an embolotic?
Yeah, embolic. Yeah, no, embolotic. Your first one, I think, was right. Their first one is right, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, which is like a stroke from a blood clot from going to the chiropractor. And I was like, she's like, so I never wanted to go. But I always hear people have great results otherwise. My hypochondriac mind, I'm sending this to all my friends that go. What do you think? I need to know.
One of two ways to unscare you and rescare you. First, if you're scared of a blood clot, I know someone, I'm not going to tell them their medical information, but got a blood clot from a sprained ankle because the birth control they were on. So like, blood clots, you can't, that's more of it's not necessarily just the chiropractor. Once again, I'm not a doctor.
Okay. It could be like a preconceived.
Exactly. That could have just been like, could have gotten a blood clot from anything. It was just that happened to rip something in there that caused a blood clot. It went everywhere. So like, it's not necessarily just the chiropractor, but at the same time, those things can happen. Like when you read the terms and conditions, and if you look into it, there's many of people who've had bad incidences with chiropractic, but that's with like also plastic surgery. Also like, so I feel it's one of those ones that, because it's not so regulated, there's just a lot of bad faith actors that I think go into it versus like other disciplines that are a lot more regulated. And like, for example, I go to MyoDetox, which is like, they've taken a combination of physio, chiropractic, and they combined it. Cause I think there's something so important about like getting realigned, making sure your muscles aren't, and like so much. But like, that's a good example that she's not just sitting there, crack, and keep coming back, because it feels good. Like it's almost like a false thing. Like you get cracked, it feels good. Yeah. And then that's what gets you back. But does it actually fix the problems? Just like when you crack your own,
totally.
Like, I crack my toes all the time. That I crack my back, it doesn't necessarily fix it. But if you have a chiro that's like kind of doing what a physio is doing, or like a personal trainer, and like telling you how to correct it, which is getting them out of the job, but like that's a good sign. But you just have to, I wouldn't like blindly go to a chiropractor. I would like definitely look into everything they've done, and it's a very heated one. So
interesting. Okay, well, nobody DM me. I don't want to know. Nobody comment on our YouTube. I don't want to know. Don't scare me.
There's horror
But
stories.
I did my research with her. Like I know a lot of people that have vetted her. She's a CrossFit competitor. She runs marathons. So she understood where I was like, I'm not here for ailments. I feel fine. It's like, I feel stiff sometimes. I just want to improve my posture and improve these things about me. And she was like, okay. And I mean, she took solid like 30 minutes showing me what to improve, what to work on with myself. So I'll keep you guys updated if I keep going back. But I just like, it freaked me out. And then I'm so sore. Like, I feel like I just worked out. But she was like, it's fine. Like, you haven't ever had this happen. So I was like, okay. But like my hypochondriac mind is like, I'm sore. And then my mom's over here like, she scares the shit out of me. She didn't want me to get my boobs done. She scared the shit out of me doing that. Like, she's such a mom about it, which is fine. But I was like, I talked to the wrong girly.
Actually, now I have a question for you, because I get this comment sometimes on YouTube, and I wonder if it's like state to state, or if this is a Canada versus US thing. Do you guys not have physiotherapists? Do you know what a physiotherapist is? Because that's mind-blowing to me. Okay, because I always say it like casually, like, go to your physiotherapist. And like sometimes I get comments like, what the hell's a physiotherapist? I'm like, what is it? I don't know what you guys have in place of this. So you guys obviously have personal trainers, you have chiros. A physiotherapist in essence did what you did. She'll come in, or I go to a lot of women physiotherapists, and they'll assess you, and they'll like figure out where your muscle balances are wrong, where like your movement patterns are wrong. You have to go for university. You have to get your kinesiology degree. Like you are legitimate, like just that's all you're like study the movement of humans and muscles. And so like you go there and get completely assessed and they give you a workout program to like assess it. So it's more like the medical part of a physical therapy, like a trainer. But it would be like in a sports performance clinic. So it's like kind of what she did, but like you have to go through university training and all that. So I'm like, what do
Maybe it's not
American
as popular because
maybe
I don't know. I'm sure they have them, but I don't. This is so new to me. I've never grown up going to anything preventative like this, right? Like I didn't even like going to the doctors as a kid. I hate it. So, and then hello, you've heard my mom. She won't let me go to half these things when I was a kid. So like
True.
I never saw a physical therapist for anything, like this is such a new world for me. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. People can comment if they know what that is. But that sounds wonderful because that's really what I wanted to work on. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I was like, come up to Canada. We'll get you hooked up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess that's what we got. Healthcare up here compared to you. Isn't that the whole thing?
You guys do have very different healthcare. And also, if you think about it, this is quite a niche thing because this is expensive and it's unnecessary, right? Like people go their whole lives without going to a chiropractor, just like people go through their whole life without going to a dermatologist. Like,
true.
Right? So that's where I think, unless you have pains, it is more of a luxury thing because we have to pay for our healthcare, right? Depending on what our job is. There's co-pays, it's expensive. I'm like fortunate the healthcare I'm on, it's very affordable. But in the past, especially having to pay for my own insurance when I, work just for myself, I would never have gone to something like this because it'd be so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe that's like the big difference because you guys do have a lot of it paid for.
Yes and no.
Go out, right?
It's confusing, honestly, our healthcare system, and it's not as free as we make it out. That's once again we hold that we're like free healthcare. But without getting into it, like but I know a lot of people, if you just get like a basic job, not basic, but like a decent job, you'll get like healthcare like benefits with it, and physio can be part of it, which is nice.
But you still have that copay. So for some people, maybe that copay, say it's $50, and if you're going once a week, that's $200. And depending on their job, right? Like that's how I always viewed added expense with it. But what do I know? I have no idea.
I was gonna say, I don't even know what copay is.
Oh, you don't know what copay is?
I was like, we don't have that.
Oh, you don't?
I don't think so.
It's free? It's literally free when you go?
Okay, explain copay because I'm so confused right now.
Okay, so, and you guys don't come at me because I don't really understand insurance, all right? I'm 29 and got off my mom's insurance at 26. So copay is essentially like you have your insurance cover, a lot of the procedures that you get. So maybe say women's health, your pap smear may be covered as preventative, but you pay to go see the doctor and the copay is like, say $50, $30. I don't know what it is in the United States. It's very different in Puerto Rico. But like I paid $30, but my adjustments would be $15, which is very, very affordable compared to the United States. But it does take out from your insurance and like a copay. So maybe you got an IUD and you only had to pay $150 and they'll cover the rest. So you like have a threshold of copays, I think. I could be butchering it because you guys, I don't go to the doctors often, but I always do have to pay, like my women's health exam is always like $70 to $150, but that's with insurance. Yeah. Okay, so that's where it's like, it's still added. Yeah. I don't know. People are probably listening to this being like, you guys are fucking idiots. And I understand. So we are children in the insurance world. Okay. I don't know.
I was like, I won't lie. Insurance is so confusing. And I always say, I'm like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. And then I forget. And like, you can get insurance too in Canada for things. And you should have it for like dental and extra. And it's like adulting.
Truly. Terrifying. Okay. Well, we'll stop boring everybody. Tell me, what is your hot take?
My hot take is just simple. Do less. That's my new mantra, but not actually. I think we're all like how to recover, how to optimize, how to have like the perfect sleep and how to do all these and, optimize every second. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we just all need to do a little less. You know what I mean? Instead, like, why don't we all just relax a little bit more? And we're all complaining about being overworked. And so that's something I'm working on. Instead of just optimizing recovery, and just like hyper focusing on it. I'm just trying to do less. Not
Okay.
like I'm gonna, yeah. So that's just, I'm like, maybe if you're overworked and you're constantly stressed and you're like, oh, I don't know how to get my recovery better, just do less. Just do less.
Yeah. Okay, I
That's my
love
hot
that.
take.
Wow, look at you, so mature.
I know.
I did see a reel this weekend that
Mm.
I loved. That was a hack to like regulate your nervous system
Mhm.
is slowing down.
I know the one. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, it's so simple, but you're like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah. Or
Because,
context for people who are listening. Oh, do you,
oh no,
you
go
mind?
ahead.
I was just going to explain it. Like the reel just pretty much like was a girl like mixing like a
Hmm.
something like cooking, and she's like mixing as hard as she can. And then it's like when you realize the easiest way to regulate your cortisol or whatever that is to just slow down. So she's like mixing 100 hours, and then she just slowly starts mixing. And then she's jogging really fast, and she slowly jogs. She's brushing her teeth really fast and slows down. And now go on. I just want to provide some context.
No, I loved that. But yeah, I love that, doing less. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, it's always like, what are you going to remember? What's your main takeaway? Like, especially I hate when I feel rushed if I'm like spending time with friends or family. It's like trying to slow down and just like enjoy an afternoon.
Mhm.
That's Michael and I used to always work every day, and now we take
Mhm.
weekends serious. Like, I am out of office. Do not bother me. I am going to go to the beach and swim and sauna and live my good little
Love.
life. So I like it.
As you should. As you should. You should be living
Yeah.
life. Simple as that.
Yeah. Okay. My like little hot take. It's not a hot take. Let me just share a story with you guys.
Okay.
So, you know how like I haven't been really drinking lately? Like, I
Mhm.
just haven't. Let me tell you, this weekend, I was
Mhm.
like, asked Millie and Simon, like, you guys want to go out to San Juan with us? We're going to go to the casino. I wanted to plan a little fun date night for Michael.
Mhm.
And we hadn't hung out with them in a while. So we're like, come with us. They're like, okay. The way I had 4 drinks within a span of 5 hours and was so drunk, I was like, this is my, like, 3 is like, you're hammered.
Mhm.
4, Millie's texting me saying, where's my purse? Like, I was like, Millie, I barely remember getting home. Like,
Yeah.
we Ubered, don't worry. But Michael really didn't, he had like 2 glasses of wine. Like, he doesn't really drink. So he was like, I asked, I was like, have you seen her purse? He's like, no, you guys were drunk. So I like checked the Uber. I made sure everybody got like into our house
Oh.
okay. But it was just like 4 drinks and we can't hang. I cannot
Yeah.
hang. And I feel like back in the day, 4 drinks in like a 5-hour time span, fine. Right?
I feel it's like ebbs and flows. Cause like sometimes even when I
Yes.
was 18, like 4 drinks, I would have been hammered. And then like you drink every weekend and then suddenly you need like 8 and then you take off a week or a couple weeks and then you need 4 again. So I feel it's just ebbs and
Lesson
flows.
learned. Because
Yeah.
I woke up not feeling too hot. And I just was like, oh my God, I can't. But like back in college, you would split a fifth of alcohol with somebody for a night.
Mhm.
That's a lot of shots. And you were like, okay, where's more? Like, it's just
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
So
crazy.
4 drinks, I've learned it needs to be 3. Not even 3. 2. 2, I think, is like a safe bet for me not to feel like complete shit the next
Yeah.
day. But it was fun. Sometimes you
I
just,
mean,
it was safe. We were just having fun. We were just
yeah.
chatting. The boys were,
Yeah.
at the casino, and we were like, let's just go have a little girl chat. But
Love.
oh my God, I think at one point we cried. We were bonding. Both Millie and I were just hot messes. We were like, my God, I haven't been out in months.
Yeah. You just had bathroom chats. Gotta love it.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
So cute.
I remember at
So
one point, like, a group of guys like looking over at us, probably being like, ooh, like we're by ourselves, right? They're like,
Oh
ooh,
yeah.
girls, single girls, we're just crying. We're just talking about trauma we've dealt with. And they're like, oh God.
Just kidding. We don't want to deal with those ones.
Could
We'll
you
go to the
imagine?
next.
Is that not the funniest thing ever?
That would be out of a movie though. They could like come and hit on you, and then
Yeah,
you just
you're
turn
crying.
around and you're like, I can't talk right now.
We're talking about therapy. Yeah.
Go away.
It was fun though. Sometimes you just need those nights sometimes.
Of course.
But it also reminds me of why I don't do it anymore. So humbled
That's
the
why.
next day.
That's why you have to do it, because then otherwise you just like lust over it. You're like, oh, it'd be so nice to have a drink, and then you have the drink is so fun, and then you remember the next day, and you're like, oh, I'm good for a while. And so is the cycle of adulthood: insurance and occasionally drinking. Adulthood.
Yeah. I was like, back to some LaCroix.
Health and wellness.
Yes. Do you have any other hot takes, or
Just
were you a
simple,
happy
because
camper
I'm
with
doing
that?
less. I'm doing less, so I just hit one. Do less. How about you? Do you have another?
No, I pretty much went over the chiropractor and we bored somebody for 15 minutes, or we enlighten them.
Yeah.
4 drinks and 6 a.m. swim.
Love.
That about did it
Just
for me.
a lovely weekend.
A lovely weekend. I did finish, for those that are interested in reading, Throne of Glass, the first book. On to the second. But
Nice. Congrats.
it's still not amazing. It's no Actar, so I'm waiting.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah. So should we get into today's topics?
Yes, please.
Okay. So first one. I don't think you've seen this yet, so I want you to guess, because I always like your silly guesses.
Let's see.
Dermatologists say the secret to super soft skin may be in your kitchen cabinet. Can you guess what it might be?
So it's dermatologists specifically.
Dermatologists.
So it's not complete BS, because right there I'm going to be like olive oil. Like, you know what I mean? Just any oil. That's what they're going to say. But I know it's not going to be some kind of oil, like olive oil or that. So I'm going to say something high in vitamin C, because that's good for your skin. So oranges. Eating oranges, because it's high in vitamin C, and vitamin C is good for your skin.
Okay, that is a great guess, because you're not wrong. But it is sweet almond oil. That's like a new fad right now.
Okay, expand.
So it's packed with antioxidants and vitamins, making it super nourishing for your skin. And there are like 2 different types of almonds, or like ways you can make it. And there's sweet almond and there's bitter almond. And you don't want the bitter almond. How you do this, don't fucking ask me. I don't know. I'm not going to be doing this. But I just wanted to let the girlies know that love skincare. So it contains anti-inflammatory properties and fatty acids. It prevents loss of hydration on the skin. It contains vitamin A, which softens your skin. It contains vitamin E, which reduces hyperpigmentation. It contains B7, which can strengthen nails and promote hair growth.
Love.
Right? So a few ways that people do it is, I was like, well, when do you apply this? Right? Like, do you add it into your morning? This says after moisturizing at night would have like the most maximum benefits. And that it can also even be used as a makeup remover.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? And so a lot of people put it as well on their nails, because almond oil can be applied to like help your cuticles and prevent fungus.
Okay, interesting enough, I use a little nail cuticle oil every night, and I'm pretty sure it has almond oil in it. Now you say it, like it's one of them. It's got like a mix. And I will say every night and every morning, because I'm a dry gal, I finish my moisturizer with the oil. I use marula oil. The Drunk Elephant has the expensive one. Ordinary has the dupe for it that's a lot cheaper. Buy whichever you prefer. But I was like, it'd be interesting to know just like the benefits of like, I think marula is probably some kind of like nut within a fruit too, which is an almond as well. So I'm like, look into it, because I think that's the one thing, certain oils can clog and cause more problems. And then certain ones are really good for locking in moisturizer. Because that's what like moisturizing, like one of the reasons you have dry skin is just like, you just need to trap all the moisturizer in. And that's what like oils and that can do. They can also clog. So I'm like, that's something to like, if you're a girly who likes really natural things, like I would just like try a little, like patch it, and it could be like a good dupe for $100 face oil. Who knows?
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, I thought it was cool. I kind of want to look it up.
Try it out. Like, let us know.
Yeah. I have a confession with a gua sha.
Tell.
Because you know how people oil their face with gua sha? And then we discussed this, and you were like, people use their fingers. It's a natural gua sha. So did I tell the white elephant story on here?
I don't think so. Go on.
Okay. We hosted Christmas Eve, and we had everyone bring a present for white elephant. And my friend brought like a girly package, like a shirt was in it and gua sha, all these things. I wanted the gua sha. Okay. This thing is just like a piece of glass. And I'm like, hell yeah. And I'm like, Michael, it's your turn. Get it. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, I'm your wife. Please get it. He's like, okay. So he gets the gua sha for me. And he's like so sad because he wanted this electric wine opener. And I'm like, get me the goddamn gua sha. I literally, the next day, I'm like, ooh, gua sha, can't wait to use it. Pick it up to use it, drop it on my marble floor, and it shattered everywhere. And I was like, oh, there goes that present.
Yep. Oh.
And so I never bought another one because I didn't trust myself. But then I made a care package for my mother-in-law, and I put a gua sha in there. She's a skincare girly. And I made sure to buy like a pack of 2, and I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it.
Do it.
Why not?
Do it. See what's up.
I
was like, The one I had broke really fast. Those things are, and luckily it was just a cheap Sephora one,
Yeah.
like the Sephora brand name. I think it was like $10, but still, those things are just finicky. You put it down
Yeah.
once, it'd crack in half. So
I
heaven
agree.
forbid. Probably because
Girl,
we're
you got to
buying the
go to
cheap ones.
TJ Maxx. Do you have TJ Maxx?
No, we don't have a TJ Maxx.
It rocks my life. And it is, they have one in the UK. It's called like TK Maxx, which I think is funny. But I bought 2 gua shas for like $4 there.
Oh, nice. We do have
It's
winners, so like that's how you would go find
okay.
those things. But
It's
for
everything that's
reference,
like didn't sell, goes to them.
we have winners, so we have that. And
Okay.
for the reference, $10 Canadian, $4 American. We're talking $2 difference. That's a $2 difference right there. So we bought the same quality thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
forget. I forget where you live.
Yeah. 30%
Okay, segment
difference.
2. Dancing with the Stars. Do you watch it?
I do not.
Okay, me either. But I'm like,
When
I'll
we're
be
talking
so
about it.
bored. I'm so sorry. That is such a boring idea of a show for me. Like, I don't like dancing. So I'd be like, yep, sounds good. So I do watch the clips on TikTok. That's more my style.
Yep.
But Ilona, so how do you say her name? Her whole full name?
Who are we talking
She's
about?
the rugby player.
Oh, I've butchered it on YouTube. I love her,
Ugh,
but I don't know.
dang.
So I'm not going to try again. I butchered it last time. I'm not going to try again. Trauma.
I think it's Ilona Maher. So
Sounds right.
she is on Dancing with the Stars, which I think is amazing. And I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's so cool. For those that don't know, she's an Olympic rugby star. She's gotten really famous on social media lately. So she's just such like a quirky, funny gal that really plays into what might not be the popular version of beauty standards, right? Like, and I liked this. So it was a headline I saw that she was breaking down masculine stereotypes and how beautiful can be big, in the sense of like, if anyone looks her up, she's jacked. Like, she is a strong person. And I just find that so cool that even Hollywood is like really diving in and being more inclusive with everyone. And it's not cookie cutter.
Oh, I love it. Especially in like sports like rugby. And then someone like, okay, basketball is in as like manly of a sport and now, but there's like the girly sports and like the masculine sports. And I think it's like there's an embarrassment as women growing up of like if you played a more masculine sport, because it was like if you genuinely just enjoyed rugby, but you're like, I still feel feminine and I still feel beautiful, but like I just happen to love rugby. Or like, you know what I mean? Like basketball growing up was very dominated by guys. Now, of course, Caitlin Clark is better than any man, let's be real, in terms of popularity. But it's just so cool seeing that and like her like standing up for that. Because of course, like if you're a woman that wants to be really masculine, that's fine as well. But there's like the ability of just because you play a sport that there's like a tackle element to it and that you have to be really strong and muscular to perform doesn't take away from your own like womanhood. And so like just her like that will be so inspiring for so many girls that look up to her. But then like they're like, but I still want to be like the pretty girl. I'm like, you can be the pretty girl and a badass at rugby. Like you can make your own adventure now. It's not just gymnastics for the girls anymore kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's really cool also to see if people may be more built like her, to see that representation. I mean, even I think of movies or TV shows, and like a lot of it is a certain body type. And I remember growing up, I'm like, I have these really big, like thicker thighs and legs. And I never really saw not masculine, like muscular. It was always like everybody back then wanted the Gossip Girl, legs and things like that. And I think I'm now seeing it more normalized. I'm like, that's so cool because like not all women have that type of body, which is just awesome.
I love it. I love it. One of my favorite things, just as a note, that I've started to see more is like muscular mannequins. Like when I go into like certain stores, and that's so cool because like mannequins used to be like the most like they were all like 6'8" and yet like 90 pounds. So I was like literally no woman is built like that. But then now they have like multiple different body types. That just reminded me of, especially like I find like I've seen it in Nike and Lulu and like other brands, like just having that. I'm like, thank you for that.
Especially that's their demographic.
Exactly.
Like that's what's so silly. And sometimes, I mean, you think of some things that come out like those hot tiny ass little shorts, and I'm like, let me see that on a mannequin that looks more like my butt. That thing's gonna get eaten. So I'm like, I love when they show that, and I'm like, this is flattering. Like I love the dancer joggers. They look so good on me. I wear them every day because they fit my type of body, right? So it's just, I love that.
I love it too.
Um,
So good.
so shout out to her. She danced to, I did watch it on TikTok. It was Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain.
Oh,
Love.
amazing.
She looked fabulous. And yeah, she just said she wanted to show what her body type could do and how beautiful it could also be in a more feminine space, right? Like we think of ballet dancers, we think of
Mhm.
people that are really coordinated, and a lot of
Yeah.
times athletes are not that coordinated. They right? Like unless it's
Or
their sport. It's more of like, does that make sense? Like I'm not really coordinated unless it's
mhm,
my niche of volleyball. And
mhm,
like where dancers are very elegant in every way
mhm.
that they move.
I would say maybe like I agree with coordinated, but like I find like saying that a lot of athletes struggle with, and this is something like I've worked on so much, and this is why I've really tried to get into stretching and Pilates and yoga. Is like we don't have flow, we don't have feminine, like there's just that like flowiness, like dancing, like flow is the only word I can think of it best. Like, and you know what I mean? Like versus like a dancer, it's like it's poetic how they move, but like I've spent my whole life being told like very you move with power and explosiveness and sprint, and that's still a beautiful thing, but it's like nice to be able to do both. And that's what I find like just like even like when I did yoga this morning and learning to like ripple my back. I know it sounds funny, but when you go to downward dog to like a upward, just being able to ripple my spine and just have like a little flow versus my whole life it was stiff back, explode forward, like dynamic, like that's, and it's nice to be able to like lean into others. And so it's really cool seeing an athlete like her being able to like lean into both, and you don't have to be this one dimensional. We love.
Love it. All right, cool. Well, okay, next segment. Have you heard the new Apple Watch Series 10 is coming out?
It's on my wrist right now.
Get out. Okay,
Yep.
well, I wanted to do a little segment on it because as an Apple Watch girly,
Mm-hmm.
like they're expensive, right? They're about like
Mm-hmm.
400 USD. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted, see how I said USD? I
Yep.
wanted to talk about the differences for the girls that are thinking about investing. Because
Mm-hmm.
for me, it took me a while to invest in my Apple Watch.
Yep.
So I mean, let's start with you. What are your overall thoughts of the new
Well,
one?
I know you have a little bit of a list, so I can also confirm or deny, but I'm just going to blanket right now. If you have the 9 and you're not rich and you're not a YouTuber that has to expense it, ignore it. There's no need to go from the 9 to the 10. It's a little sleeker, it's a little thinner, and it charges a little faster, and it's a little brighter. And
Okay.
that's all Apple gave us. And I won't lie, as an Apple, I have it on my wrist, so I'm not like that says something. I'm like it's not complete trash, but like it's definitely a lot faster than the 9 because now I upgraded my 9 and it slowed down because it can handle iOS 18 like every other Apple product. And yeah, the main thing is pretty much what they did is they took it and they just squished it. So it just went a bit bigger of a screen. And instead of giving us extra battery life like we've been asking for so long, they just made it charge a little faster and added more performance into it. Literally Apple's word. Added more performance and maintain the battery life. So now it's every 15 minutes charging will give you 8 hours of battery life, pretty much. So half an hour, 45 minutes will give you the 18 hours, which is only 4 hours of workout tracking. And that's the summary.
Okay, that's helpful. Because yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I just bought the new one. I'm like, gosh,
Don't do
dang
it.
it.
Don't upgrade. Don't upgrade. It's
No.
not
I mean,
worth it.
this took me years to convince myself to finally do it. But I mean, it was kind of interesting that the article, like you said, it was like nothing crazy. Like
Mm-mm.
one of their things was like the cute bells and whistles are there, and I was like, what does that even mean? And they were like, it's now jet blacked polished aluminum, so
Mm-hmm.
very rad is what they said, in a jewelry like polished natural gold and slate titanium, which I do think is nice for those on YouTube. Keltie is showing with her hand modeling. But I mean, I do like that because honestly, when I go out to eat for dinner, I ditch my Apple Watch because I don't think it's cute looking, right? Like I
No.
have the performance band,
Mm-hmm.
like because I
So
use it to track my workouts.
this is the new titanium. They used to have stainless steel, and I'm a little pissed about it, but they changed it. This is a titanium one for those watching. So this is like the upper model versus the rose gold. They do now have a rose gold, though, in the regular model, which is really nice. It just looks like a matted version of that, but the titanium made it a lot lighter than the stainless steel. But I don't know, something about it makes it feel cheaper, the titanium now, than the stainless steel. Like the
Oh,
stainless steel had some heft to it versus a titanium. Like it's nicer if you're running, it's lighter. But for like I'm the same. It's nicer having the shiny one for going out. Like it's a little less whoop band. um, but yeah. So
So,
mhm.
can you sweat in that type of band?
Okay, so with the Milanese loop, you can, but if you like swim in it and you get stuff, it'll eventually start to tarnish over time.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't lie, because of my job, and I usually get the Apple Watch every year to review it. I only have the loop for about a year, so I find it tarnishes after about 2 years. It's no longer the same color if you're sweating, but if you're swimming, you can't swim with it. It will just come right off. Then so,
Okay.
mhm,
That's helpful. I am
yeah,
somebody that is so rough with all of my electronics and like,
mhm,
I mean, I live in a humid climate. So
yeah,
that's where like I just need it to be durable. But then, I beef with Apple because it
mhm.
broke when I swam and now I won't swim with my Apple Watch.
There
And
you
that's
go.
annoying
Seven.
when I want to know the time. And I'm like, this is supposed to be water resistant, but these bitches lied.
Yeah, they
Apple, I'm
do
coming at
now
you.
do have monthly Apple Care, which is kind of nice if you're someone. So it's only 7.99 Canadian a month for Apple Care, and you can cancel at any time. So it's like $5 a month. And the nice thing is, if you're like me, like I literally broke the new iPhone last year, day after I got it, and then got it
Oh,
repaired. So and then you can cancel it. So
what'd you do?
there's a
Drop
nice.
it?
It just fell, just at the awkward like a angle. And I was like, versus like, I don't even wear a case on this one. And I've dropped it so many times. Of course, it's fine. But the first day I got it, just,
That's horrible. There was,
yeah.
when I was a teenager, I remember my mom let me upgrade to a new iPhone. I had like one of the first ones. Like I was young, but I could drive.
Mhm.
I was 16. Maddie was with me. We were meeting my mother, I'll never forget, for teriyaki after we went to the Verizon store. And I had just put on my mermaid phone case. And
Mhm.
I get out of the car after this brand new phone that I convinced my mom to let me get. I drop it,
Oh
shattered.
no.
I'm like crying when I come into the teriyaki. My mom's like, this is why you can't have nice things,
Oh
Savannah. And I'm like,
no.
shit. But like literally within 10 minutes,
Yeah.
shattered. And I
Okay.
don't remember how I got it replaced, but I did. But I was like, oh my God.
That's a thing we forgot about. Like, yeah, these still do crack, but they actually take quite a beating now. Like a
Oh my gosh.
iPhone, like
I
you,
always drop my phone.
but remember, like up till like iPhone 10, if it just dropped anything, it was done. You were like, as soon as you just heard it crack, you're like, I just remember that feeling because I've unfortunately broken a lot of iPhones, just like it being face down and just that turnover of like, please don't be do. And 90% of the time it was broken.
I know. It's horrible. This is why we can't have nice things, as Taylor Swift
No,
says.
no. Or we
Yeah.
just have Apple
That
Care.
was Michael got me like a test ring before he bought
Mhm.
me an engagement ring because he knew how harsh I was.
Yeah.
Because he sees
That's
me
kind of
like
smart.
freaking click clack everything around our house, and like I do destroy the things I own. Like it's just, I'm just like
Just who you
not
are.
very graceful. And
Mhm.
he was like, I'm gonna test out this ring, make sure you don't lose it, and like see how nice of a ring I can get you without me being heartbroken if something happens to it. And you know what?
Yeah.
Here we are, years later, still good. But I don't wear it
Yeah.
all the time because I'm so scared.
Oh, there you
I
go.
clean clack that thing all the time.
Smart, smart. You know your limits. That's half the battle.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next segment. I don't know if you care about this, but I do.
Mm.
Zack Bryan apologizes to Swifties
Um,
for drunkenly posting Kanye is better than Taylor Swift. He even deactivated his X
mhm.
account because people are so mad. Did you hear this?
I did. I know all the tea. I know all of it.
Okay, what are your
And
thoughts?
well, first of all, it was hard because A, I love Zack Bryan. B, I love Brie Chicken Fry, his girlfriend. And C, I also love Taylor Swift. So I'm sitting here being like, guys, no, don't put me in the middle of this. I love all your music. And don't do this to me. And it was one of those like, I'll let you also explain, but it was one of those. I think I would have felt a bit different had I seen the tweet before I saw the headlines. Like, you know what I mean? If I just randomly saw the tweet, I'd be like, oh my God, you're awful. Like, why would you think that with all the history of Kanye and all that? But now seeing the headlines, like knowing he was drunk and like on just like a wormhole and just tweeting stuff. And it was just like, that's why you just got to stay off Twitter when you're drunk. Cause like,
Yeah, it reminds
it's
me of
so
like
dumb.
college kids tweeting back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had Yik Yak and you could
Oh,
Yik Yak.
yeah.
Uh-huh. And that's like what you would read about. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts then on when celebrities drunk tweet?
It's like we've all been there though. You know what I mean? You're drunk, you're
Yeah.
feeling high, you're just like, you just say something dumb. Like, all I can visualize, like him with the boys being like, unpopular opinion, Kanye's album better than Taylor Swift's album. And it was just like a random thought. But then that tweeted comes off completely different than that said in just like with context. And I was like, you just got to stay off your phone. Nothing good will come from drunk tweeting. So you have a viral tweet that's good. Nice. That didn't get you anything in life. Like, you only, like, just stay off it. The only bad things can happen when you're drunk and tweet. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
I agree. And like the fact he thought, maybe he didn't know the history, but the fact, one, you involve the world's most famous pop star at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and also Kanye, who is a very canceled man at the moment.
Very.
It is so like, what were you thinking? Like,
That's why I'm like,
who is his publicist? Because she must just be crying her eyes out.
it definitely makes me feel like he had to have not realized all the lore and everything behind this, because there's no way, like, unless he's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a political statement in some way to like say like something like that. So I'm like, almost to the point, I was like, I feel he has to not realize at the time the magnitude of it, because no one would just like casually be like, oh yeah, Kanye better than Taylor Swift. I'm like, you really want to take on the Swifties against a canceled Kanye? You really
Yeah.
want to do that? Like, I feel he had to have
lose
not known.
lose. He
Like,
had no, of course. Are you kidding me? He probably doesn't know. He's probably not a Swiftie like we are. So
exactly.
yeah, and then his girlfriend was probably like, "You idiot!" But
Oh,
go ahead.
I listen to her podcasts, and like, she's also, I listen to the BFF sometimes, and I noticed I just casually randomly listened to it last week and she wasn't on it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this is why. And like, they just like tried to like kill it, which I'm like, honestly, respect. But
Yeah, it's people on the interweb are like people with like pitchforks. Like,
yeah.
I feel like people get canceled left and right, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's always not that deep. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this one doesn't seem that deep. He seemed like he was
No.
just drunk. He's a boy, so he probably doesn't really realize the whole
Mm-hmm.
situation. Someone, well, I don't know. Why would he say Kanye with Taylor? Maybe he wants the press. No press is bad press.
Maybe. But he also doesn't seem like thirsty like that. You know what I mean? Like, I could be totally
I don't
wrong.
even know who this guy is. Like, I
his
just
music's
heard
good.
Zack. Like, I've heard his music, but I just heard who he was and his girlfriend. And then recently, I was on TikTok, and this girl was doing like a lip sync, and I was like, "Who's this girl? She has so many views on this." Like, she was just sitting in her living room. It was his ex-wife.
Oh yeah, I forgot
then I went down a
about all
rabbit
that
hole.
tea. I forgot all about that tea.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I was like, who is this Zack Bryan man? But yeah, so I do need to check out his music more. But
It's good.
speaking of Kanye West, I finished Selling Sunsets. And did you?
No, because remember, I said I actually have to, I lied to the podcast like a week ago.
Oh.
I said I'd only watched up till season 2 when Christine ended, but I didn't realize, like, you know, when you binge things,
Yeah.
I was like, I think I've watched it twice. I'm actually up till season 7.
Oh,
I thought there was only like 2 seasons, and then I looked and I was like, start this, and I was like, saw how many I'd watched. I was like, oh, I had no idea I'd watched that much. But now I'm halfway through season 7, so you got me back on.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's so good. But so well, for those that haven't finished it, Jason, the guy that owns the brokerage, he takes on Kanye West's, he basically bought this house. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, with the numbers. I think it was 57 million that he purchased this Malibu house from a famous,
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, like architect. Like, he was known for his concrete work, which I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, could not be bothered. Concrete, you're kidding me. Like, that's when you know you got some money. That matters. But I'm like, as long as it stands up, I'm happy. But so he bought it, and then he stripped it. Like, there's not even plumbing in this house. It looks like a garage. Like, it looks like a car garage that needs to be fixed, okay? And they were going to relist it for like, I don't know, like 53 million. Like, they were like relisting it just 4 million less than he bought it. And all of the women were like, that is so stupid. Like, that is going to take so long to rebuild. It's just like so pointless now. And I actually looked it up on how much it actually sold for. 21 million. So Kanye West lost so much money on stripping this and like I didn't know he was that rich, but I was just like, whoa,
That's
whoa.
crazy. That sucks. But at the same time, he's got to be, who knows now because he's Kanye and has gone wild. But like when Yeezys, like he had to have been close to $1 billion at some point.
I guess. I just don't know much about Yeezys. So yeah, I mean, that would make sense. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just like, wow, that's a big loss. Like,
Yeah.
damn.
I mean, like I would, if I lost $20, like I'm kind of like, oh, darn it. You know what I mean? Like I'll
Absolutely.
survive. But to lose, like if I lost $20,000, you guys, I'd be like out, like I'm moving back home,
Absolutely.
like with my family. But 20, yeah.
No, he lost like 30 plus million. They sold it for 21 million.
Oh
And they
my
were like,
God.
oh, yeah, we'll still live it in the 50s. And we're like, what? Like, nobody cares about concrete that much.
Yeah.
Like, their argument was like, well, the architect, like, it's still the concrete work. And you're like,
Yeah.
that's like extreme first world problems. That's
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. That is
One of
nuts.
One of the funniest things about that show, though, is like we're saying, everything on there is out of my budget. But I still sit there going, I don't know. I don't know if I take that one. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Same.
I like that part of that one, though. Oh, you know what? I would love that $50 million house. Like, of course you would love it. And I was like, do you know what your mortgage would be, Keltie? More than your whole life combined would be your monthly mortgage.
Oh, absolutely. I love
Oh,
to dog on him. Or I'm like, that's
yeah.
beautiful. And then
Oh,
I'm
so
like,
nice.
yeah, would never. Probably, well, I wouldn't qualify to even walk through it, right? They have to vet
Hmm.
you. So you'd be
Oh,
like,
true.
all right, never
Like,
mind. Never
nope,
mind.
nope. Just like,
Mm-hmm.
but we all do it. We all do it. I don't really like the cabinets on that one. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we really have the right to say that.
We're like, wow, great deal. 5 million?
For
Like, cause you'll
that?
see the other ones like 12 million. You're like, that's a
Yeah.
fantastic deal. And then you're
Yeah.
like, I would ever take that.
Yeah. 5 million. Actually, nowadays everything's so expensive. 5 million gets you nothing. Let's be real.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially in New York.
We got in Vancouver, you're lucky to get a shack. 5 million.
And for 5 million in Vancouver?
Actually, it is funny. Sometimes just go look at some $1 million houses in Vancouver and it is utterly depressing. That's
I
why we
think
all
you should
rent
move.
because like, huh? Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It's
But you live in the tropical area, so don't worry.
yeah, exactly. The weather's so great here. I'm so good.
Right? You need to come visit me. I'll show you
Mhm.
proper tropical weather.
Yes, that would be
Mm-hmm.
nice. I will. I will one day.
Yeah. Okay. I'll end it on.
Mm.
Should I end it with celebrities' workout regimens, or should I end it with gym bros eating dog food?
Mm. Well, right there, we're just gonna say Jim Bros eating dog food. Oh my God, boys, stop! And then
Okay, yeah.
that's all
I
we
guess
need to
that
say.
wraps it up.
That-
They're doing it on TikTok for like high protein, and like to be fair, it is a lot of protein, but dogs' digestive systems like break down protein quicker, and like
yeah,
if you eat too much protein, that's not good for you, and like also dogs produce more stomach acid, so
yeah,
like there's certain things that are found in dog food like bone matter and parasites and bacteria that like it's
yeah,
fine for them. So I just thought that was so silly
yeah.
that they're eating dog food.
And all I
Oh,
could say, if for whatever reason, when these boys are listening, your body can only absorb so much protein in an hour, anyways. And like, I bet you any of these guys can handle 30 grams of protein. Like, you can eat a chicken breast, you have scoop protein powder. You don't need to find a way to jam in 100 grams in an hour. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, like, just have a protein shake. Enjoy life.
How hard is it? Boys do it. That's
Yeah,
what I literally think
exactly.
sometimes. I'm like, you guys run the world? I'm
Mhm.
like, you guys, like, we still haven't had a female president yet. And like, men are eating dog food? I'm just
Mhm.
sometimes like, wow,
Yeah,
that's
well, that
interesting.
explains a lot. That's a no
That
female
explains a lot.
president, men eating dog food. It seems correlated.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so then we'll end. This one was fun. It's from like all of the, what would it be? A-listers. There we go.
Yes.
Like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, all those
Mhm.
girly swirlies
Love.
there's a bunch of like training celebrity workout routines I just thought was like wild. And it just shows that they're like a different breed of like an
Mhm.
athlete, even if they don't look like
Yep.
it. So number one, rapid fire. Miley Cyrus works out in heels. And I was like, what does that mean? She literally goes to the gym because she's like, well, I perform in heels. So I want to
Yeah.
work out in them to strengthen it. So I totally get it.
Mhm.
But she's like, oh, the gym's so ugly. I want to be more feminine. So she loves wearing them in the gym, lifting.
I mean, I mean, she has to perform in heels, so I think it's genius. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it makes sense. And then if it makes
Totally.
her feel good, sure, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Megan the Stallion
Yep.
trains like an apocalypse is happening. So she's like extreme high intensity,
Hmm.
like endurance built. So she sprints up stand hills. That sounds
Yeah.
horrid. She does like 40-minute Stairmaster sessions on top of like a lifting routine, which
Hmm.
I just was like, wow, props to that girl. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Love. And also like her performances will be over. Like it seems crazy to like lift for an hour and then do cardio, but when you're a performer performing 2 hours, you have to be able to like sing and dance for two, like that's what your game is. So I'm like, yeah, they have to train that much. That doesn't mean the average person has to, but they have to.
Totally. Beyonce runs a mile while singing in
Mhm.
heat, like Georgia heat.
A lot of them do that. A lot of that's like how you learn to like control. Whenever I've done like musician challenges, that most of them do run while singing to just help control their vocals when they're out of breath.
Yeah. Same with Taylor.
Mhm.
But she sings a whole Eras tour, which I know you did a YouTube video on.
I did do it. I
Um,
attempted.
Loved it. And then Pink does acrobatic stunts, which my mom loves Pink. So my mom tells
Mhm.
me all about this. And she has her coach stand on her stomach while she sings.
Crazy. I guess, yeah, you would have to control your like breathing and abs so much. Like, it seems like it's one of those things I'm like, the average human doesn't need to do that. But like
Yeah.
singers, it's just that's their sport. That's their sport.
Yeah. Right.
Crazy.
Also, update Nona
Mhm.
texted me saying,
Mhm.
my
Ooh.
chiropractor changed my life 10 out of 10 experience.
Okay, we
That's
got a
coming from a
winner.
girl that sneezed and slipped her disc. So,
It's true. Let's hope it wasn't the Cairo. Just kidding.
yeah.
But
So,
again, yeah, it fixed her. So
yeah. So I was like, okay, makes me feel a little bit better. Okay.
yeah.
So I thought I'd end on an update. We've got an
Ooh.
update, okay, from our
Love,
friend. So I'll recap what she said.
please.
So she said, my boyfriend of almost 5 years left me. We were both 23 at the time. The
Hmm.
reasons were mostly related to him wanting to find himself as an individual. He is
Hmm.
leaving for an internship soon and will be back in September. I saw him a couple times since this happened, and he has been a completely different person, and I don't recognize him, not in a good way.
Hmm.
Wondering if you girls had tips for me since I thought this would be the father of my children one day, and now he is acting completely out of character. Don't know if I should hope for the future when he comes back. Any tips? Do you remember the tips we gave her?
I think it was just genuinely like you're so young, focus on yourself, like that, those kind of classic, like he's changed, you're gonna change a lot in your 20s and you gotta like you've got plenty of time. I think it was something I'm assuming. I feel we said lines about that. It was a little
And like
while
he might
ago.
not be the one.
Exactly. You're young. You gotta
Yeah,
experience more.
like wow, our brains. The fact I was like, I really don't remember what kind of advice we gave her, but I think it was along the lines of like, you're young, you'll find somebody else,
Hmm.
and that she shouldn't wait for him. I think is what we're saying.
Exactly.
Go live
Yeah,
your life. If you reconnect, cool. And also,
exactly.
it's just like loser energy for him to blame it on wanting to be himself. Like,
Hmm.
you
Go
know,
focus on yourself.
yeah. Weenie Hut Jr. energy.
Hmm.
So, this is her update. Hi, girls. Mr. Who Shall Not Be Named came back yesterday and no one expected it. When he saw me, he gave me a hug, parentheses WTF, and said, congrats on my half marathon. So, congrats to the half marathon.
Yeah. Well done.
We were with our friends in common, so we did a bit of small talk, but nothing special. He was still on his bubble of this is his best summer ever, and I don't know when he'll come back, but it sounds promising. The guy is proud to say he drank and was blackout drunk all summer. Not a big turn on, but I feel like it's an act we will all see.
I feel,
So that's
yeah,
her
no,
update.
you know what? The fact that you're clearly thriving. You ran a half marathon, you enjoyed a good summer, and there's nothing then like someone coming back and be like, oh, this and I did that, and look at me just living life. I was like, if you're just living life and all that, you don't need to tell everyone you're out there living life. And you know what I mean? A little bit of the ick with the blackout of that. What are
Oh,
your thoughts?
100%. Girl, ditch
Mhm.
this guy. That's what I think. I think
Yeah.
if he wanted to, he would. And the
Hmm.
fact he's not even trying with her, she didn't even know he was coming back. And then they're with friends and it's small talk. Like,
Yeah.
this is not the father of your children. And,
Yeah.
to be like devil's advocate on what I just said, I can understand how everybody goes through a phase in their life. And like,
Yep.
I do think if I met Michael, like when he was a little bit younger, I would not have been into him, right? He was the
Mhm.
classic frat guy, everything that I was just not into. So like, I think if I met him back then, I would have been like, boy, bye. And then I
Mhm.
was just lucky when I met him, he wanted to like have a relationship. So it's like, I
Mhm.
could see maybe he just wants to get this out, but, and they are young, but I still think like, if you're always chosen second from the start,
Mhm.
boy, bye. That's what I think.
I feel all you could do is like complete space, and that involves both sides. Like if it's really meant to be, you guys are perfect, you can't grow together, you need to grow separately, then one day you will come back together as like fully formed and like be the best versions of yourself and like get that out of your system. And that, you know what I mean? Like I think some people need to go through certain phases and it's out of their system and they're like, oh, I never want to do that again. Um, and it sucks that it's unknown, but I think, you know, one of two things will happen. You go focus on yourself and you find someone that will be even better for you because you're clearly killing it. If you're like
Mhm.
this young, running half marathons, you're like accomplishing so much right now, and you're going to meet someone that is just going to like encourage you to grow more and choose you and make you feel better. Or on the flip side, that person is going to go find everything and realize they had the best thing all along. But all you can do in this is focus on you and give it time and just it's easier said than done. Like you had this vision of a future, but you almost have to say goodbye to that. And you what? This was the example that you saw. You're like, oh, that's him finding himself going and getting blackout. I'm like, is that really what you want in your life? I was like, you just need to cut it off and worry about you. And then
Yeah.
time will figure it out.
Yeah. And I mean, she still sounds very hopeful where she's
Mhm.
like, but she's noticing. She's like, this is unattractive, right?
Mhm.
So that's good to notice. And like, but she's still like, well, we'll see. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, just focus on you, focus on what makes you happy. And maybe you don't even align anymore. If you're
Mhm.
more into fitness and he's not, like, I feel like we've all gone through also dating
Yeah,
somebody that we all just change our habits or our interests. And that's okay. And that's like, you know, like just part of life.
exactly. So, time.
Well,
You
thanks
just
for
have to
the
focus
update though.
yourself. Yes, we appreciate it. And we just remember the ick. You're like, trust that gut. Trust that gut. That you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay. That's what you're bragging about." Okay.
Also back then too, it's like when you are younger, and I mean, we're still really young, right? So we don't have
Mhm.
much to say, but like I met Michael when I was 20. So I'm like, okay, don't take advice from me. But I do know that like when you're younger and when you do go through a breakup like this and they're not
Mhm.
choosing you, it could feel like the end of the world. You're never
Definitely.
going to meet somebody that chooses you, but you
Mhm.
will. And it's so cheesy, but you will meet somebody that like exceeds it and like fills what you want. Maybe you wanted
Yeah.
somebody that runs with you. Maybe you wanted somebody that even just puts you first.
Yeah.
And like his love language might have been off, and you meet someone and you're like, this all makes sense. Like I wasn't meant to be with that person. Doesn't make them a
Mhm.
bad person. It doesn't make him a bad person if he wants to be blacked out drunk all week or all summer.
No.
That's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just like choosing what you want in a relationship, and like you'll meet somebody tenfolds better. And
Mhm.
doesn't mean you have to go hop on it now, but one day when you're ready, or maybe you'll just run into him.
Exactly. I remember ending past relationships and being like, "Oh my god, like you held on to it because like this is the best there ever. It was everything I wanted, and this is the best." And then as soon as you're out of it, you meet a bunch of other guys, and you're like, "Oh." Even I have one friend who's going through a breakup, without going into detail, also upset, be like, "Oh, this is the love of my life. There'll be no one better." And then like a week later, runs into someone that's like almost a cutting image of the ex, and it's like, oh, no, I can find another like, that sounds bad, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I think we doubt that there's a lot of good people in the world, and, like, a lot of people that will match you, and so don't cut yourself some slack. You have plenty of options than just
Yeah.
this.
I agree. Well, cool. Guys, write in if you want, if you just
Mhm.
want us to discuss it or give you advice. And we're not saying we're great at advice. But
Mm-mm.
anyways, leave us a review. Please don't comment about a chiropractor if it's scary. Just kidding. You can if you want.
And if you are a
But
chiropractor, please, educate us. We'd love
yes,
to hear it. We'd love to
educate
hear.
us. Oh, I'd
Mhm.
love to pick someone's brain that's a chiropractor.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm going to call Nona. I feel like she worked
Do
a lot
it.
with them.
Do it.
But okay. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.